The rancher had lived alone so long that silence had become his only companion. A man carved by wind, dust, and regret, surviving on the edge of forgotten land where even prayers seemed to die. Before reaching the sky, and on the night his fate changed forever, he was tracking a lost calf when the desert suddenly went quiet, in a way only hunters understand, the kind of silence that warns you too late. And before he could reach for his rifle, shadows moved like spirits, swift and precise. Women warriors emerging from the darkness with bows drawn and eyes sharp as flint. Apache women, strong, disciplined, unafraid, surrounding him not with chaos but with control, binding his hands not in cruelty but command. And as fear tried to rise in his chest, he noticed something strange. There was no hatred in their eyes, only judgment, curiosity, and ancient resolve. And as they led him across moonlit sand toward their hidden canyon settlement, he realized these were not prisoners of history, but guardians of it. A tribe of women who had chosen independence after betrayal and loss. Women who trained as warriors, healers, leaders, and protectors. And when he was brought before their council fire, the eldest woman spoke with a voice that carried generations, telling him he had crossed sacred ground and must stay until the spirits decided his fate. And in those first days of captivity, hunger and fear slowly gave way to astonishment as he witnessed their way of life, how they hunted together, debated together, laughed together, and mourned together. And instead of treating him as an enemy, they watched him, tested him, assigning him work, seeing if his spirit would break or reveal its truth. And he worked without complaint. Mended tools, helped carry water, healed a wounded horse using ranch skills learned long ago. And something began to shift, because the women noticed not strength alone, but kindness, patience, and a loneliness that mirrored their own. And one by one barriers softened, glances lingered, conversations grew longer by the fire, and stories were shared. His story of losing family, land, and purpose, and their stories of men who tried to rule instead of respect. And in that shared pain, something powerful was born. Not desire, but trust. And if this story is already pulling you in, remember to subscribe to the channel, because stories like this, stories of resilience, redemption, and unexpected destiny, are just beginning. As seasons turned, the rancher was no longer bound by rope, but by something far stronger, belonging, and the tribe no longer called him captive, but named him the one who listens, a rare honor among people who valued action over words. And he earned it by never raising his voice, never demanding, never assuming, only offering help when needed and stepping back when not. And the women saw in him what they had not seen in many winters, a man who did not fear powerful women, a man who did not need to dominate to feel whole. And slowly, each woman found her own reason to care for him, the huntress who respected his calm aim, the healer who admired his gentle hands, the young warrior who saw in his scars a mirror of her own, and even the elder who smiled quietly, knowing the spirits had chosen well. And when neighboring raiders threatened the tribe, it was the rancher who warned them in time, standing beside them in defense, not as a savior but as an equal, proving with action that loyalty is louder than blood. And when the danger passed, the council gathered once more, not to judge him, but to give him a choice, freedom to return to his lonely ranch or a place among them as family. And the silence stretched long as the fire cracked, and he spoke with a steady voice, saying freedom meant nothing without purpose, and his purpose was here, among women who taught him that strength could be gentle and leadership could be shared. And the women did not claim him as a prize, but welcomed him as a bridge between worlds. And though no single heart owned him, he honored them all with respect, loyalty, and devotion, becoming a symbol that unity does not require control, only understanding. And years later, travelers would whisper legends of a lonely rancher who walked into the desert and found a family stronger than fear. And if this story moved you, if it reminded you that real power lies in respect and humility, then subscribe to the channel, because more unforgettable stories of destiny courage, and human connection are waiting for you. Time did not move in days anymore, but in moments that stitch themselves into meaning. And the rancher, once a man defined by isolation, now woke each morning to the rhythm of the tribe, to the sound of feet on earth, laughter carried by wind, and voices raised in song that spoke of ancestors watching from the mountains. And yet destiny was not finished shaping him, because belonging is not proven by comfort but by sacrifice. And the test came when the land itself rebelled, when a brutal drought crept across the desert, drying rivers, thinning game, and pushing rival tribes and settlers alike toward desperation. And tension grew like heat before a storm, and whispers spread that outsiders blamed the women's tribe for guarding the last hidden spring. And one night scouts returned with grim news. Armed men were coming, not to talk but to take, and fear rippled through the camp, not as panic but resolve, because these women had survived worse. But the rancher saw something else in their eyes, not fear of death but fear of losing what they had built. And for the first time he spoke without being asked, stepping into the firelight, and offering a plan that blended his rancher's knowledge with their warrior instincts, suggesting decoys, hidden routes, and a way to protect the spring without needless bloodshed. And the council listened, truly listened. And when the plan worked, when the attackers were misled, exhausted, and forced to retreat without a single life lost, the tribe did not cheer loudly, but they gathered around him in quiet understanding, knowing he had crossed the final line from guest to guardian. And in the days that followed, the women came to him not with admiration alone, but with trust, sharing responsibilities, decisions, and futures. And the healer asked him to teach what he knew of animals and land. The warriors asked him to train with them, and the elders asked him to speak to the spirits beside them. And he realized then that winning every woman's heart did not mean romance or possession, but something far deeper. It meant being seen, accepted, and valued by each of them in her own way, as a brother, a partner, a protector, a listener. And when word spread beyond the canyon of a tribe led by women and strengthened by a man who bowed to no one, yet respected everyone, the legend grew, not as myth but as lesson. And years later, when the rancher stood on a ridge at sunset, looking over a land no longer lonely, he understood that captivity had been the doorway to freedom, and that the hearts he had won were not conquered but entrusted. And if this chapter made you feel that quiet power, the kind built on respect, courage, and unity, then don't let the story end here. Subscribe to the channel for more unforgettable stories where destiny is rewritten and strength takes unexpected forms. Because the greatest journeys often begin the moment we lose our way.